Welcome, everybody. Welcome to today's exceptional law of self-defense show. We are going to have fun today because today we're doing the live reading, cold reading of the letter I received from the public defender's office yesterday. Are we streaming? Let's see. Oh, here we go. All right. I couldn't tell for a moment. It looked like things were not catching up. Let me make sure I have everything streaming the way it's supposed to be streaming. I don't know, something wrong with, let's see, the members page. All right, it's working. And Rumble, I will leave to its own devices. So I sent out invitations to a bunch of law troopers. Everyone's busy. A couple are here that you're very familiar with, but people may pop in and out during the course of the reading of this letter. This is the letter from the public defender's office I got yesterday, Colorado Public Defender's Office. I'm going to talk about the t-shirt in just a minute. They sent me a nasty letter. One of them did. It's from Jennifer Onstedt, Lead State Training Director, Office of the State Public Defender, Colorado. So we'll go ahead. We'll do the formal start of the show, and then we'll come back and do a little bit of backstory. I'll invite our guests in, of course, and all the guests should feel free to contribute whatever they like during the course of the reading and so forth. And so let's go ahead and get this off the ground. Here we go. All right, welcome, folks. So we have on as guest at the moment my good friend Steve Gosney, who happens to work for a public defender's office. Not this one. He's down in Florida. I'm sure Steve would never send a letter like this. I have no doubt. Well, not to me anyway. And my good friend Nick. Hey, Nick, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. I thought I'd show up here as the token woke person.
Woke.
Yeah, since I am a union rep, I live in a socialist country and everything. So I can explain that not even woke people in my country would ever think about sending this kind of garbage to a pro bono person.
It's it's interesting. I thought it casts a weird light on the actual mission of the public defender's office here in Colorado. Like, what do they actually prioritize? It doesn't appear to be their clients. But Steve, are you with us? Steve looks like he's actually doing something else. I'm going to take Steve off because he might start picking his nose or something. I don't think he's aware he's on camera. Hey, Ron Coleman. These are all attorneys, by the way, folks. I did invite a couple of non-attorneys, but these are all great lawyers. Thanks for popping on, Ron. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. This should be fun.
So here's a bit of trivia for you, personal trivia. Ron's one of the nation's preeminent lawyers by a large margin, but I once blocked him on Twitter.
That goes to show that things matter to you.
All right, a little bit of backstory. So I have, of course, I'm a lawyer, and this involves testifying in court as an expert witness and presenting at the Colorado Public Defender's Annual Conference. So, of course, I have slides. I have slides here today, too. So how did we get to this day? Well, it involves a chokehold case. So this was a guy who was attacked, two homeless people, essentially. They were trying to sleep in the same location. One attacked the other. The attacker was much larger than the defender. Defender knows a little jiu-jitsu, puts a choke on the attacker. And unfortunately, as is often the case with homeless people, the attacker had a deeply compromised physiology. So instead of just taking a nap and then waking up, he just turned off. He died. So the defender gets charged with, he gets tried for second-degree murder, reckless manslaughter, negligent homicide, and basically he's looking at decades in prison if he's convicted of any of those charges. Maybe more than the years listed here because there's various sentencing enhancements for acts of violence, including murder under Colorado law, but sentencing is not my area of expertise. These are the charges that this defendant is charged with. And of course, he's indigent, so he has a public defender. And the public defenders learn that their client has studied BJJ, and they go to the gym where the client had studied. They interview the owner, and that's the same jiu-jitsu gym I go to. And the owner says, well, this was the level of the client's training. Oh, here's Steve's smiling now, so I can tell he's aware.
Sorry,
He's
I was working there. I'm sorry.
No worries,
I didn't
Steve.
hear you come on.
So the owner is cooperating with the investigators from the public defender's office and tells them, hey, by the way, another student here is this lawyer, Andrew Branca, who does nothing but use of force cases. Maybe he'd be willing to help out on this case. So they call me and they ask for my assistance on the case to do a legal consult, which is how I do my legal services. I don't take clients directly. All my clients are other lawyers who are lead counsel on their cases. And they asked me to be an expert witness at trial as well for their client. Now, normally, folks, when I do this work, it's expensive. My legal consults start at $10,000 and go up from there, even more for expert witness testimony. But of course, I've worked for a public defender's office. I know what their resources are like. I didn't ask for a penny. They didn't offer a penny. All good. No complaints about that. I was in court for 3 days, didn't charge anything, did a thorough consult, testified as an expert witness, didn't charge anything, completely pro bono. And I think I have, and I would suggest that in fact, my participation on the case was pivotal to the positive outcome. Now, we did get acquittals on all those criminal charges. And I say that for a number of reasons. One, I'll share with you the email of praise I got from the lead counsel on the case. But even before then, and the jury was interviewed by counsel afterwards, and they told them how much they valued my testimony, how much it affected their decision to arrive at an acquittal. Even before then, however, so this is a use of force case. Obviously, a key issue here is going to be the question of proportionality. Did the client use excessive force? If he did, it was not lawful self-defense, and he gets convicted of second-degree murder. In the middle of the trial, of course, I had to present my expert witness slides to the state for their review before I could use them in front of the jury. And they said, well, Your Honor, there's a problem with these slides on this question of proportionality, how much force. The statute for self-defense says great bodily injury, but Attorney Branca's slides talk about serious bodily injury, and those are not the same things. So we want all his proportionality slides taken out at the presentation. The jury should not be able to see them. And the judge goes, well, defense, what do you have to say about this? And the defense says, So the judge says, all right, they're all stricken. All those proportionality slides are stricken. And if they're stricken, if I can't talk about the legal subtleties of the degrees of force involved here, this guy's done because the state has a dead body to work with. So I'm sitting there in the courtroom watching this, hearing the judge rule that I have to take those critical slides out of my presentation. And I'm like, but I know that these two phrases are not distinguishable legally. They're the same underlying legal concept. So I'm there with my laptop in the courtroom. I hop on Lexis. I search Colorado case law. And sure enough, right there, I find a citation that says, nope, great bodily injury, serious bodily injury, not distinguishable under Colorado law. I email it to the defense counsel, and he goes, Your Honor, wait a minute. We have this case law that says they're not distinguishable. And the judge says, all right, the slides can come back in. That happened in real time, folks. That happened because I was in the courtroom to do that work. So what happens with the charges after what's that?
So that's the setup.
Yeah. So I provide my expert witness testimony for a couple hours on a Friday. The jury goes home for the weekend. On Monday, they come back and it's not guilty, not guilty, not guilty on all those charges. Defense counsel writes me a nice letter. Everyone involved in the case, everyone who watched the case, we want to extend our appreciation for your help. Everyone we spoke to had positive things to say. Even lawyers who watched the case said they found your explanation of self-defense law helpful, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I've redacted any personal information because I'm not trying to embarrass anybody here. Then I get a bit later, a couple weeks later, I get an invitation from the public defender's office to come speak at their annual conference. Why? Well, I'll zoom in on a part of this. Because of the amazing outcome I helped secure for their client. Now, I want to mention, they never offered. I never asked for a penny for this either. I took a day off work. In fact, I went out a day beforehand because I was the first speaker in the morning, booked a room in the hotel so I could stay overnight, $500 for that. Of course, had to pay for my own dinner. No problem. I was happy to do it. They did give me a t-shirt for speaking. That was my compensation. We'll circle back to the t-shirt in just a moment. And then yesterday, I go to check our mail at our mail drop, and and I got this. I got this letter from the public defender's office. So here's what we're going to do, folks. As you know, when I get hate, I like to monetize the hate. So that's what we're going to do. Tomorrow, as I've been promoting for quite some time, tomorrow is our Law Self-Defense Advanced class, our full-day course on use of force law, exactly the knowledge and expertise I use to help secure acquittals for this murder defendant. Spend the day with me and learn what I know about self-defense, defense of others, defense of property. And if you have other obligations tomorrow, register, sign up anyway, because we'll make the playback, the recorded version of tomorrow's class available for at least a couple weeks afterwards for registered students. And in celebration of this letter, 50% off the registration at lawofselfdefense.com/advanced, lawofselfdefense.com/advanced. Let's show the public defender's office how the law self-defense community responds to hate. All right. So,
and can I put a couple disclaimers on here? And I'm
Sure.
honored to be on with Mr. Ron Coleman, and you too, Nick. But Ron Coleman is a super lawyer, one of the most impressive people I have ever been around, and I will just say I'm honored to be actually sitting next to him. I should just let him talk the whole time, but I will just say, as a small,
I'm a complete spectator here. I mean, I got opinions on everything, but on this topic, I've got very little knowledge.
well, I appreciate that, but I do have qualifications as an assistant public defender, and I will say, as an assistant public defender, I will hope that whoever this person is from Colorado, and I've looked and done some research, that they do not represent public defenders generally, only an elite group who have self-assigned themselves a cause which they are putting their own personal causes above their clients, in my opinion, and that I would be honored to have you in every self-defense case if we could fly you into Florida for free. So I just wanted to just put that out there. Let's not generalize, because I am an assistant public defender and I am a big fan. So, and I don't really care about your political ideologies or opinions, because you're the premier expert on self-defense. And if I have a self-defense case, that's the guy I want.
I mean, it makes you wonder what the actual mission of the public defender's office is in Colorado. If it's not to secure acquittals, seek justice for their clients as best as possible. And you would think free expert consults and expert witness testimony would be something that they would want as helpful to their clients, instead of antagonizing and alienating, especially a use of force law expert who's willing to do work for them for free and secure acquittals for their clients. It makes you wonder what their actual mission is, if not the interests of their clients. We all have defended clients that we don't like, right? That's the nature of the work. Every day, this public defender's office is defending people who've committed heinous acts, as they should. Those people are entitled to justice too. But turn around and send me a mean letter. Holy cow. It's remarkable.
It is absolutely insane.
By the way, I should mention, I did mention, I've worked for a public defender's office, not as an attorney. I wasn't a lawyer yet. I was an investigator for the public defender's office up in Broome County, New York. Hey guys, it's been a minute, but so I think the world of public defender, some of the best attorneys. There's a myth that if you have a public defender, you're somehow getting a bad lawyer. Some of the best attorneys I've ever worked with in my life have been public defenders, world-class attorneys. They do tend to be badly under-resourced, which is one of the reasons I agreed to consult on this case for free. But with that out of the way, so I have no grievance against public defenders generally, not even against the Colorado public defenders. I mean, they didn't send me this letter. One person sent me this letter. And that person is, off the envelope and the letter, Jennifer Onstent, Lead State Training Director, Office of the State Public Defender, Colorado.
As a little context, she is not the appointed public defender over the entire office.
Correct.
She is a training person. I would be interested to see if the elected person, or she's not elected, they're appointed by the governor, and the person currently appointed is an appointment by your current governor, who I'm sure has certain political leanings. So it may be, I mean, I'm just, let's just get confused. I'm not sure who this person's representing. And if that goes, was there a group action? Was there a decision by committee? Was it brought before a vote? Or is she acting on her own or on behalf of some other group?
Yeah, so it's funny when I saw the letter in the mail, you know what I thought? This is how much of an ego I have. I thought, oh my gosh, maybe they sent me something nice. Maybe there's a check in that envelope and something of a token of appreciation. You know, maybe there's a coupon for me to take my wife Emily out to dinner or something along those lines. That would be great. And I open it up, and when it comes out of it slides out of the envelope, and I just kind of accidentally see the last paragraph, and I'm not going to read it now because it would be a spoiler. But the last paragraph is definitely, "And good day to you, sir," in tone. So I thought, oh, that's not good. And then I turned to the front of it, and I could immediately see what kind of letter this was done. By the way, the letter is 4 pages, typed, single spaced, physically mailed. All my communication with them, obviously, in 2023, up to this point, has been via email, as we all do. But she felt compelled to send me this single-spaced typed letter.
Do you have any idea?
By the way, with the
how many cats she owns?
How many cats? I don't know. Maybe she says.
I'm betting several.
And I should mention, I have not read this letter. So except for that little bit of the last paragraph that I saw incidentally, and the first paragraph when I saw what it was, this is a cold reading. I myself have not read this letter. I did let my wife Emily read it, and she came laughing back into the room and said, "Have fun." So, one other thing. So the t-shirt they gave me, I am wearing the t-shirt. It's just under this. And if we hit on YouTube, if we hit $200 in super chats, I will take the tie and shirt off and show you the t-shirt. All right. Now that $200, I promise you, will be 100% of that will be spent on my wife, Emily. I'll buy her some flowers and we'll go out to dinner and we'll laugh about today's show and this experience. But that's it, $200 on YouTube, the stream on YouTube, and I'll take the tie and shirt off and you'll get to see the t-shirt. All right. Starting now with the letter. Oh, I have some sad music I can play in the background if the technology works. From Jennifer Onstant, number 28733. I guess that must be her bar number. Lead State Training Director, Office of the State Public Defender, Colorado. 2, Andrew Branca, Esquire. I never use Esquire, folks, but fine. Our business address. And then she writes, Mr. Branca. I'm already a little offended. I mean, I am an attorney, right? Just like her. She could have said Attorney Branca, but Mr. Branca. I did not have the opportunity to meet you when you presented at our annual conference last week. My name is Jennifer Onstant, and I am the lead state training director for the Colorado Public Defender's Office. We recognize that you volunteered your time to testify as an expert for one of our clients who was facing charges in Colorado Springs and to present at our conference. So far, so good, right? Unfortunately, the letter continues, unfortunately, I feel compelled to write you in my role as the lead training director on behalf of the Colorado Public Defender system. She's writing on behalf of the whole system, including senior management and the training department, to alert you to the racial and gendered harm your direct interaction with some of our defenders and your lecture caused our colleagues who are Black, Indigenous, people of color, BIPOC, and female. Since the conference, we have had an opportunity to look at your website and your Twitter feed. Uh-oh, never do that.
Twitter feed.
That was a bad plan, Jennifer. In hindsight, it was a mistake not to do that prior to bringing you in to present.
Unbelievable.
Well, whose fault is that?
All right, she's admitting it.
Yeah. Instead, we acted on the mistaken belief that because you testified gratis as an expert on behalf of a public defender client and were open to presenting at our conference, that your views on equity and inclusion were aligned with our agency's values.
Unbelievable.
Had we seen that material prior to your lecture, we would not have brought you in to speak because of the likelihood that we would have a situation precisely like the one that arose.
What situation? I mean, what you went there, you spoke, you get gratitude and a t-shirt.
I think one of their complaints is about my presentation. We'll see. I think she's going to get into it. It's 4 pages. She's got to have something substantive to say somewhere along the line, I would think.
Yeah, the only situation I believe would have happened is they found out and they would have taken an opportunity to confront you during that lecture.
Ah, good point.
And
The
she lost out on
values-
it, and she's pissed off.
Yeah. The values you espouse in the public domain, while protected by the First Amendment, oh, thank you very much, that's very kind of you, are repugnant to our agency's core values. They are in direct conflict with our mission and the work we do in the state to try to ensure that our colleagues and clients who are members of minoritized groups, I never saw that word before, minoritized groups are treated with equity and inclusivity. Your public media presence aside, I am hopeful that by sharing with you the negative impact your behavior outside of session and during your presentation had on our staff, you will take affirmative steps to avoid inflicting such racial and misogynistic harm on future audiences. While you did not openly verbalize the racist, misogynist, anti-LGBTQ plus sign views you post on the internet at our conference, you did treat Black women and women generally with disrespect and disregard consistent with those views. Oh, here we go. You arrived at the space where you were scheduled to present well before your presentation was scheduled to begin and found that the room was already in use for yoga by several women.
What a white thing to do.
Including female BIPOC defenders and a BIPOC mental health expert associated with our agency. Rather than reacting with professionalism by leaving the space until your presentation, you continued into the room, making noise, disrupting the session, and turning what was a sanctuary space for those defenders into a harmful and toxic space. When a Black female defender attempted to bring your disruptive behavior to your attention, you behaved as if the problem was her reaction to your conduct rather than your conduct. Your response was a gendered, racist microaggression against the very defenders for whom the conference was being offered and who you signed on to educate. I was not made aware of your insulting mistreatment of these public defenders until after you gave your presentation, or I would have canceled your session and avoided additional harm. All right, so again, this is a cold reading, folks. So I have not read this letter. So this is the first time I'm seeing this. Look at this paragraph. I mean, someone needs a writing lesson. That's awful. But so this is what happened. I'm the first speaker of the morning, right? I stayed at the hotel the night before at my own expense so I could be ready there to speak. And as speakers typically do, we try to find the room we're going to be speaking in so we know where it's located. And if there's AV people there, we might coordinate with the AV people, right? Hey, I got my laptop. Do we have the right connectors? How does the audio work? All that kind of stuff. So when the time for the talk happens, we're all set. We don't have any technical glitches. So I walk into the room and it's giant, maybe 300-seat room. And sure enough, there's AV guys working there. There's a guy at the podium. There's a guy at a soundboard. So I'm like, oh, great. The guys are here. And I'm there, of course, well before my talk. I don't arrive at the last minute. Now, off in the corner of this huge room, there is a group of women doing some kind of exercise routine with chairs, you know, those conference chairs, but they're way off to the side. And doesn't bother me, right? Whatever they're doing, it's okay. So I go to the AV guys, introduce myself. We set up the laptop. We set up the audio. I do the test thing and then turn the little lapel mic back off. And that's it. And then just before my talk, when people are filtering into the room to sit down, this little woman comes up to me and says, "Are you the speaker for this talk?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, I want you to know I'm very insulted because we were doing yoga here and you interrupted our yoga. And I feel that was extremely offensive and unprofessional." And in my head, I'm thinking, well, hell, I thought this was a legal conference. I didn't know it was a yoga conference. I came to the wrong event, right? What are we prioritizing here? Yoga? Her little group of 8 people could have been anywhere in this giant conference room hotel. They could have given her a dedicated room. Why is she doing this in the room where a speaker's going to talk shortly? But I didn't say any of that. I said, well, I'm sorry you feel that way about it. That's the racist microaggression. And I was sorry she felt that way about it. I mean, I didn't think I did anything wrong, but I was sorry that she felt bad about it. So that was my insulting mistreatment of the public defenders. That had she known, by the way, this all happened like minutes, seconds before my talk began. So, and the yoga thing was over. So it's not like they asked me to stop and I refused to stop. If they had told me, "Hey, sir, we're doing yoga here. Could you not do the AV check?" I would have been happy to defer. but they never mentioned it to me until after the yoga was over.
You know, my response to microaggressions is always a micro apology.
So, by the way, she's saying, had she known this, she would have canceled my session. So because of this, social faux pas, I didn't realize I was supposed to defer to the yoga group in the corner. She would have denied 300 public defenders the access to the expertise that they thought valuable enough to have me come speak in the first place. That's what they're valuing. All right, continuing now with Jennifer's letter. I did not attend your session.
Andrew, keep in mind what you just said doesn't matter. If that person, if the defendant would have been convicted, he would have been a necessary sacrifice for the greater good.
Right, for the wokeness. Yep. The poor indigent client would have been sentenced to 24 years in prison had he been convicted. For nothing, for something that was self-defense, as the acquittal demonstrates. Jennifer continues, I did not attend your session. I have since reviewed the recording and am familiar with the content, both your words and the images you put on the screen. I'll share those images with all of you because I pulled out the slides. Emily told me they were going to talk about my presentation. From your website, social media presence, and your email exchange with, I won't say her name, it's one of her subordinates. It seems that you offer this training frequently. I imagine that your audiences include members of the BIPOC community. Hey, Aussie Overlord.
Hey.
Just going through the letter here.
Been listening.
Okay. I imagine that your audiences include members of the BIPOC community, as ours did. In the event you are not aware of how aspects of your presentation cause racial harm to the BIPOC community, I am sharing this information with you in the hopes that once alerted, you will choose to avoid inflicting the same harm again. The portion of your presentation that is racially offensive is the section in which you show the pictures of fake and real guns.
They're offended by pictures of guns and they work in the public defender's office?
So these are the slides that she's talking about. So I'm going through in my presentation, I'm explaining the 5 elements of self-defense, right? I talked about innocence, I talked about imminence, I talked about proportionality, and I get to the element of reasonableness. And I explain what reasonableness is, that there's a subjective and an objective component. The subjective is the defendant had a genuine good faith belief in the need to act in self-defense, and that belief was objectively unreasonable. I illustrate where this element is found in Colorado self-defense law for non-deadly force and deadly force. And then I point out that reasonableness does not require perfection. It's possible that someone might perceive a deadly force threat that's not actually a deadly force threat. All that's required is not that the threat be real, but that the threat be reasonably perceived as real. And that's sufficient for self-defense, including deadly force self-defense. And just the month prior to my talk, there had been a shooting in Denver in which a police officer shot a suspect who presented a fake gun at the police officer, was not actually capable of causing that officer death or serious bodily injury. And this happens very frequently, I pointed out, and it could happen to one of your clients. Your clients could end up shooting someone who presents a fake gun at them. That's still lawful self-defense, and you need to know this. So this is the Colorado event, happened just in June. And there on the left, for illustrative purposes, was the gun that the suspect presented at the officer. There on the right is the real version of that gun. You can imagine in a low light environment under the stress of an actual fight with a police officer, he would easily mistake the plastic gun for the real gun. I gave another example from Fresno, California, the same month that I spoke. Same thing. Suspect presented the gun on the left, looks just like the real gun on the right. I mean, they're indistinguishable from each other. The one on the left happens to be a BB gun. Another example, Cleveland, Ohio. Tamir Rice, 13-year-old, a big 13-year-old. He was 200 pounds, but he presented the upper gun there at police officers. That's what the real version of that gun looks like below. Again, even the police chief in Cleveland, who's African-American, had to say that these guns were indistinguishable in the heat of the moment. Those are the slides that she's describing as racial hate presented to an audience of adult public defenders who I guess were traumatized by these illustrations of these points.
And what's the name of this lawyer who wrote this?
Jennifer Anstent, Ansett. AHNSTEDT, Lead State Training Director, Colorado Office of the Public Defender. If their public defenders are traumatized by pictures of guns, how do they do their job? So she continues. The portion of your presentation that is racially offensive is the section in which you show pictures of fake and real guns. Can anyone explain to me how those photos were racially offensive? I never mentioned race.
Maybe she's going to explain.
Despite being asked to provide your presentation in advance of the conference, you told her subordinate that you would be fine-tuning. Hey, man, welcome.
Hey. I've been trying to catch up a little bit on your stream. Microaggressions. Get you every time.
So despite being asked to provide your presentation in advance of the conference, you told my subordinate that you would be fine-tuning your presentation. I did provide him with like the draft version, but I'm always fine-tuning my presentation right up until the minute I talk. That's just the way I work. But I gave him a version to include in their materials for the attendees. The slides you inserted exceed what could reasonably be construed as fine-tuning. The slides you added without our consent. By the way, they never asked for some kind of license to decide what my slides were going to be. The slides you added without our consent are racially insensitive and perpetuate a narrative of police murders of children like Tamir Rice, Jordell Richardson, and the police shooting of a 15-year-old as yet unnamed Hispanic child in Fresno that we categorically reject as false. Man, they write in such a cumbersome way. Dear Lord. The timing of your insertion of the slides raises, by the way, all these shootings, except the most recent one, which I don't think has been adjudicated yet, were ruled lawful homicides. So these were not murders. The timing of your insertion of the slides raises troubling questions about whether your decision to hide them from us, wow, she's imputing some motive there, was intentional. Had you shown us these slides in advance, we would have asked you to remove them or not allowed you to present. We were not given the opportunity to do either.
Your decision to like all the conferences that I have to attend as a public defender in Florida, where they show pictures. I mean, the stuff that they project in front of 300 people of bodies that are dismembered in crime scenes when we're doing, analysis of autopsy reports, and they're like objecting to this. I mean, I'm scratching my head. I'm even trying to figure out how you could ever even be offended by such a picture.
Well, screw you for doing such a good job, Andrew. Screw you for helping them so much. What the hell?
Your decision to include these slides did real harm to our black and brown defenders. That sounds pretty racist to me. Why would you distinguish among your public defenders based on their race and skin color?
What is it about? I don't understand. I'm really struggling to make the connection.
What's the slide that they're referring to? Do you have it?
Yeah. I just showed it. You missed it, but I was showing how use of force can happen when someone. That. Yeah, that's it. That's the slide.
There was another one. Okay, all right. I'm more confused now.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that I can even remotely think is the possibility. It's because the names were included, and because they can be reasonably seen as.
That's right. You actually put factual information tending to suggest reality.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pick the races of the people who pointed the fake guns at the police. I mean, that wasn't up to me. Let's see. Your decision to include these slides did real harm to our black and brown defenders, all of whom have a right to expect conference will be a safe and inclusive environment for them to learn. Your position that the police murders of Tamir Rice and Jordell Richardson and the shooting of an unnamed Hispanic child were justified because these children were holding toy guns is not just offensive, it's legally and morally untenable. Well, no, it's not. It's legally and morally sound, actually.
Yeah.
Your assertion that these officers' actions were legally justified self-defense because they had formed a mistaken but reasonable belief the three children posed a lethal. This is not a sentence. I'll read it again, but it's not grammatically correct, which threw me off. Your assertion that these officers' actions were legally justified self-defense because they had formed a mistaken but reasonable belief the 3 children posed a lethal threat to them, period. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
But reasonable? I mean, reasonable.
I mean, it's sound advice. My son bought a BB gun that looks so real. I spray painted the whole damn thing orange before he could even touch it.
So when I asserted correct legal doctrine, folks, she does not have a legal counter argument here. There's no illustration of how I'm mistaken. But nevertheless, when I asserted correct legal doctrine, in doing so, you ignored the structural, systemic racism woven into the fabric of this country, the historical encouragement of governmental, private, and police abuses against the BIPOC community, and the dehumanization of minoritized people that continues unabated in this country.
Minoritized?
This is a lunatic. Wow.
I don't think minoritized is in the dictionary.
I know. It's the second time she's using it in the letter here. I never heard that word before. But, you know, they have to make up words for the concepts that...
Minoritized insinuates they are forced into being a minority? How did that happen?
It's a verb, right?
Yeah, I mean, congratulations, Mr. You are now a minority. That doesn't happen.
Then she writes, the history of, systemic racism, this history and current environment are the reasons those officers were not held liable for their actions, not a mistaken but reasonable use of force in self-defense. I mean, the doctrine I'm citing here is in the Colorado jury instructions. In calling the shootings a justified use of force, you inflicted racial harm on the Black and brown defenders present, as well as the broader BIPOC community, by perpetuating that narrative. Imagine if we did not have a First Amendment. This is a government actor here, right? Imagine what she would do to me if I was under her power to punish.
Oh my God, imagine if you weren't on the same team.
What if you were her client?
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Well, I might have missed this. What was the date of this presentation you gave?
It was September 12th or something like that.
Oh, so like 15 days later you get this letter, or this letter.
Oh, well, no, it's the letter's dated September 21st. So about 2 weeks after I spoke. I just picked up the letter from our mail yesterday because we don't check the mail every day. We so rarely get physical mail that we only go once a week or so to get the mail.
Wow. Okay.
She continues, I say that your presentation caused harm, not rhetorically. It is rhetorical. It's literally rhetorical because I didn't touch anybody.
I was going to say,
caused harm, not
show us on
rhetorically.
the door where your words injured them, the paper cuts and whatever else.
But she has to realize that the public defender's office defend racists at one point or another. I mean,
it sounds like the public defender's office want people of color convicted.
Yeah.
Such fragility.
Or won't
I'm
defend.
so confused.
I don't understand it. This is an argumentative profession, and they're so tender and fragile that, I mean, the words are slaying them. Especially this one. I say that your presentation caused harm not rhetorically, but because one of our African-American defenders refused to continue to listen to your skewed description of these murders. They're demonstrably not murders. There's no convictions here. They were adjudicated to be lawful uses of defensive force.
I'm confused. They're literally saying one of the people you were helping become acquitted was so upset with the way you were helping them be acquitted that they just couldn't take it anymore.
One of their lawyers, one of their public defender attorneys was so upset. Right.
Oh my God.
So this is at a conference. They asked me to speak at their annual public defenders conference. So an African-American defender walked out of the room. He approached me and thankfully was willing to talk with me about his experience in your presentation so that we could address it as an agency. He was visibly angry and upset. This lawyer, this is a defense lawyer. I mean, oh my God.
Well,
have a cup of concrete and harden the F up.
Can I raise the same objection as a public defender who goes to these conferences and has to listen to gender and equity and racial diversity statements from at our conferences, when I get to walk out, can I now complain and get all those people banned from our conferences? Because I'll do it if it's effective.
No, because you're a right-wing male with white privilege. Shame on you for even thinking such a thing, Stephen.
By the way, I want to remind everybody, if you're watching this on YouTube, if we hit $200 in super chats, I will take off the shirt and tie and show you the public defender's t-shirt that I got at the conference.
You're already there. Now we're just talking about.
Oh, am I? Okay, I didn't check.
The full shirt removal and stuff.
If we hit $400, I'll take off the pants. How about that?
There you go.
You're actually not far off that anyway.
So this public defender, who she chooses to identify as African American, which I find racist on its face. What difference would that make? He was visibly angry and upset. This lawyer, this lawyer described to me what you said in your presentation, explained to me superficially some of the negative emotions your presentation triggered in him, compounding the harm. When this defender tried to get your attention during the presentation to address the distorted narrative, you refused to recognize him. Folks, I answered a bunch of questions at the end of my presentation. Anyone who raised their hand, I stayed there until there were no more questions. So if he wanted my attention, he would have had it. We are aware you have no obligation to change your behavior or your presentation. And given your web presence, you may also have no such inclination. Well, that would be correct. At the same time, I know I have inflicted racial and gendered harm without intending to, and sometimes without recognizing I had. I write in the hope that by bringing these negative impacts of your conduct to your attention, you will take this opportunity to reflect on and not repeat them. What struggle session insanity this is. I know that we agreed to provide a copy of the recording we made of your session. We agreed to do so. Oh, so now they're going to cheat me of the recording they promised.
I was going to say, I want to see it. I want to see this.
I did the talk on the condition that they'd give me a recording so I could use it as content for my channel, but now they're going to renege. I know that we agreed to provide a copy of the recording we made of your session. We agreed to do so based on your agreement that we could maintain a copy of the recording for our staff to review if they were not in attendance. We are not keeping a copy of the video. Instead, it will be destroyed. It will be destroyed and not disseminated further.
Destroying the evidence.
Putting it down.
So there's no record of how heinous this was, right?
And they're not going to give you. Oh, yeah.
No, they're not going to give me. As such, we will not provide you a copy.
She doesn't know what as such means, of course.
Yes,
but
I would go to a breach of contract.
That wasn't a condition.
You know, there's a certain professional libel slander angle to this, and they are now destroying evidence.
That's what I was thinking. They're destroying evidence of this, and it could be a potentially defamatory. Although, well, I don't know how many other people this letter was sent to.
Negative damages.
I would argue a breach of contract and say that now you're breaching contract.
I'm sorry, Nick.
Yeah, breach of contract. Now you can send your normal fee.
Yeah, of course it was a contract, right?
Yeah.
Just because it was verbal.
Yeah.
I didn't condition my getting a copy on their keeping a copy for training purposes.
Right. That's preposterous. Why would you care if they keep a copy?
I don't care.
Yeah.
She continues. We're getting to the end now. Our agency, she's writing for the entire agency, is severing ties with you as a retained for free or for fee expert on any future Colorado State public defender cases.
You know,
who do they prioritize more, their wokeness or their clients?
There's another.
That's what I was going to say.
Here, and that is the fact is that she is speaking for a government agency. This isn't just a mere person. This is a government actor who is purporting to speak on behalf of the government, who is now, I mean, I don't know. I haven't fully examined this as a Ron Coleman question, but it sounds to me like there might be some added problems here.
Because of your racist and gendered behavior towards female and BIPOC defenders and your decision to include racially charged slides in your talk without presenting them to us for a review, you do not have permission to claim in any way, tacit or express, that our agency endorses or supports you as an expert, including but not limited to posting on your website or on other social media platforms that you presented at the Office of State Public Defender Conference. I don't have their permission. Ron?
That's a First Amendment issue, isn't it, Mr. Coleman?
You
I
don't have
state's
the
permission to speak truths.
Well, I'm also wondering if there might be some ethics violations on their behalf to throw essentially their clients under the bus and not get free expert opinions on cases where it counts just because they don't like some random thing, microaggression, maybe.
Expert opinion
if it even amounts to that.
That has demonstrably secured acquittals for their murder defendants.
Yeah.
There's a problem right there. But I mean, listen, the only First Amendment issue would be is if they tried to take some kind of action against you to prevent you. I mean, so they've withdrawn permission. You don't need permission, so it is a nullity.
They've withdrawn permission to wear the T-shirt.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
When you take the shirt off, just make sure when you take the tie off and the shirt off, you just say, the following are not affiliated with me and nor do they endorse me.
So
we're at the last paragraph. The pants are coming off too.
This is the paragraph I first saw when I slid this letter out of the envelope, but I knew this would be interesting. This is the paragraph that refers to the T-shirt. By the way, when you see the T-shirt, you'll realize I would never have worn this effeminate piece of garbage in my life, but for receipt of this letter. It was in the bucket in my garage that I use for like cleaning up spilled oil.
Much less started selling it on your website.
Can I inquire on behalf of the chat again? Now, what was the deal with the pantsless Bronca?
I'm afraid. I don't think I can go there.
People remember that?
He's already pantsless. We just did
we're at 460 now. Figure it out, Andrew.
I mean, I have to admit, I'm a little aroused. So here's the final paragraph here. Lastly, prior to your presentation, prior to reviewing your social media presence, and prior to learning as a leadership and training team about your interactions with our staff, you were given a public defender T-shirt as a symbol of our gratitude. Please either return the shirt to me at our agency at the above address or destroy it.
I think everyone needs to send a T-shirt to that address.
Yeah.
Given the variance between the views you promote and the ones we pursue, you do not have our permission to post images of the shirt on your various social media accounts. And it's signed, Pushing for Progress. Jennifer Onstent, Lead State Training Director, Colorado Office of the State Public Defender. And folks, the PDF, I scanned this letter. The PDF will be on the Law Self-Defense blog post for anyone who would care to have their own copy of it for entertainment and amusement purposes only.
Hopefully with lots of endorsements and pictures of the T-shirt, et cetera, et cetera.
All right, let me check. How have we done here for monetizing the hate? We love to monetize the hate here at Law Self-Defense. When hate comes in, we turn it into money. And every dollar we receive today for this stream will be spent on Miss Emily, my lovely wife. I'll buy her some flowers. I'll take her to dinner. Maybe if there's enough left over, maybe she'll get a spa day out of this. So Jennifer, thank you for that. That's greatly appreciated. And I'm sure my wife will appreciate it as well. When she's in that little bath with the cucumber slices on her eyes, she'll be extremely grateful to the Colorado Public Defender's Office and their hate. Let's see.
Yeah, you should auction the T-shirt off.
Seriously.
Too.
Yeah, that's what you should do.
It's not a bad idea.
That's what you need to do. Auction it off.
But auction it with proceeds to go to an organization that Jennifer would really appreciate.
How about the Legal Insurrection Foundation?
I like that.
The legal maybe. I don't know. How would I auction it? Do I just do that now on the stream? How would I know?
Well, hang on. Set some boundaries because someone may want to try and put it on a koala and have it get glitter on it. So
that's all right. They pay enough for a good cause.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm clearly so one person donated $200, so that's it. So, folks, with the I don't have any sexy stripper music to play while I do this, but First the tie, folks. First the tie. Here it goes. Wait till you see this shirt, man. It is. Yeah, baby. Yeah, you know, I love you. You know, I do.
He's taking his time.
Okay.
Do the Superman.
I thought he was just going to rip it open.
No, this is an expensive shirt. I was telling my wife the other day, every time I drop my shirts off at the dry cleaners, I'm like, that's $1,000 worth of shirts we just gave them. I hope we get them back.
Hey, I can do the auction on SteveGhazi.com.
You got to pull yourself up full screen.
Oh,
yeah.
We can't see because the name tag's in the way. There we go.
There we go.
Colorado Defenders, established 1970. But the worst part, folks, is the back of the shirt.
Oh,
this is the most. It's a cartoon of a face.
No.
I guess supposed to be presenting the face of the quintessential public defender, and it is the most gender ambiguous representation of a human face you've ever seen in your life. Okay.
Oh,
Here we go.
Species of Starwing.
Left, turn left. The mic's in the way.
The mic is blocking.
That's Rachel Maddow.
That is Rachel Maddow.
That's Rachel Maddow.
Astley. It's Rick Astley.
No,
it's all the above.
No, sorry, you're all wrong. You're all wrong.
I've seen the same face on 1940s German propaganda movies.
That's Gideon.
Now, I do have to wonder. How the Public Defender's Office of Colorado expects their solicitations of other legal experts to do pro bono work on behalf of their clients is likely to go, because this is how they treated me when I got an acquittal for their client on a murder charge.
Mm-hmm.
So if they approach other experts and say, listen, we're the Public Defender's Office, we don't have a lot of resources. That's how they approached me. Can you help our indigent client out with your very costly legal expertise pro bono? Should those experts say yes? Is this the kind of treatment they can expect to get from the Colorado Public Defender's Office? And if they're not willing to provide their expertise for free, what does that mean for the clients of the Colorado Public Defender's Office? Are they going to be left at the whim, at the mercy of the legal expertise of Public Defender's Office, public defender lawyers who are shocked and traumatized because I showed up at their conference at their invitation to talk? It's an interesting world in which we live, folks.
That's why I think it's potentially be some ethical issues. And, there's a lot of people that are like, hey, listen, I just don't want the headache. I'm not going to work for them.
Well, at least I won't have to make that decision.
Right.
I mean, I certainly wouldn't after this letter, but they've informed me that I am persona non grata.
Yeah,
So I'll have to.
Imagine the
This
next
advertisement.
person up for this. Yeah.
This advertisement is not endorsed by the Colorado Public Defender's Office.
Yeah. And it's funny. She's like, well, we never want to work with you again. For
You're not
fee.
gonna, sweetheart.
I'm like, well,
Wait, would it be more?
You
Would
never
it be
paid
more
me
accurate
at
to say
all.
it's brought to you by, but not endorsed by the Colorado Public Defender's?
You should also do a public records request to see if the Colorado Public Defenders actually discussed this at some kind of meeting and whether there was some sort of action taken on behalf of the government to send this letter, or if this is a lone wolf sending an action it's representing that organization, or if was this authorized by the government?
She says she's acting on behalf of the agency.
She could be lying.
Yeah. I don't know. So I'm going to be on the largest terrestrial radio station in Colorado next week to talk about this.
Discuss this.
They invited me on to their show. So I don't know. Maybe other people will become interested in this. She says she's where is it? Our agency is severing ties with you. So she's.
But
She's
Wait, no, does she have
newspaper these days.
I was going to say, she brought you in her capacity is training or whatever, right? So she brought you in to
Right.
do the public speaking for the little training thing. Does she have the ability to say that no attorney in our office is going to use you as an expert?
She says here, the first paragraph talks about, unfortunately, I feel compelled to write you in my role as the lead training director, on behalf of the Colorado Public Defender System, including senior management and the training department, to alert you to the racial and gendered harm your direct interaction with some of our defenders and your lecture caused our colleagues who are Black, Indigenous, people of color, and female. No white guys were offended? I mean,
Andrew,
geez, I feel like I fell short.
Andrew, take a look at the screen share, and you'll see whose face is on your picture, is on your T-shirt.
So that's Megan Ring is the head of the Colorado Public Defender's Office. I don't know that she has anything to do with this.
This is her boss.
That's her picture.
That's
Right.
the
This is the letter writer's boss.
Yeah.
I managed to take myself off the screen there. I will say that Megan's name is on the letterhead.
There you go.
Jennifer.
But look at
wrote
the
me
back of
letter
your
on.
shirt. That looks like her.
That was
that is her on the back of your shirt.
No, that's Gideon
No.
from Gideon v. Wainwright. I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's Henry Fonda.
Yeah,
Did
maybe
she
that
put
is her on
herself on the
shirt.
back of the T-shirt? She put herself on the back of the T-shirt, didn't she? Can we see that again?
A ma'am or a sir? It's Pat.
Yeah, Ron, bring it up again, and I'll
Sure.
let's see if I can
yeah.
turn the shirt again, and we can do a side-by-side comparison. I don't know if I can figure that out, but I'll try. Okay, so there's her. I'll drop you guys off the screen for a minute, and then I can do. Whoops, I'll bring you all back, and there's me. Let's see. It doesn't really.
I'm still here.
You're still here. Maybe that's why. Whoops. Okay. Is that her? So
Pretty damn
couldn't hear-
close.
Yeah.
I
No,
couldn't
that's
hear
her.
you guys
It's
when you were
really
in the-
close.
That's her. It has the same little Superman curl in front of her
right.
head. That is her.
Yep.
Or
That
as
is absolutely her.
Ian Fleming calls it, a comma.
She put herself on the back of the shirt. What kind of ego?
Well, no, she might not have
sorry,
done it.
Steve.
These are probably her acolytes.
No, it's Gideon. Look up Gideon v. Wainwright. Look up Gideon.
Oh,
They
yeah?
look alike, but it's Gideon. I'm telling you.
Interesting.
I'll tell you one thing. When I got to the hotel the night before, because I at my own expense again, a $500 room. When I got to the hotel the night before, because I was the first speaker in the morning, and I didn't want to risk, Denver traffic getting there, because the conference was on the other side of the city for me. I had dinner in the hotel bar, and just as I was starting dinner, they let out the conference for that day, and all these public defenders came in. And when I say they were drinking that bar dry, oh my God, it was like one giant sucking sound. The alcohol was flowing through that restaurant bar like a Mississippi River. They like their adult beverages for sure.
Well, now you're making them look better.
I pulled up a picture of Gideon. I shared it with you. It does look like Gideon,
It is Gideon.
but she also looks like Gideon. There you go.
That's fine.
Side by side her with Gideon. Maybe she is Gideon. Maybe she's trans. Maybe she's transitioned from Gideon to now a woke Karen.
Okay, listen, Andrew, I'm looking forward to your updated website with the, highlighting your recent presentation.
I should probably. I think I will. I think I'll record.
You should.
Record the presentation I gave at the conference. I'll record it here in the office and make a show out of it.
Well, I think you should actually write a letter demanding the video, which was, as she acknowledges, a condition of your making the presentation. And if any inquiries are made about the fact that you don't have the permission of the Karen department to mention that you gave that presentation, you can tell them, but I have Ron Coleman's permission.
I get my permission from the U.S. Constitution, ma'am.
I'm
All right,
gonna
well,
bail.
guys,
They don't even want you to mention the fact that you presented there. That's a reality. That's a fact that exists.
That you presented, and that the whole thing. You know how to just pitch it, man.
Hit him hard. Hit him where it hurts.
Let us know, and we'll help you push it on social media because we're very proud of the work that office did in getting that acquittal.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. Hey, thanks all you guys for showing up. I'll think about next steps from here. We'll see. But I only do things that make me money. So
wait a second. We're having a breach of contract occurring right now. There was a comment on pants at a different level. You
on that note.
Oh,
yeah. All right. I'll do the pants. Okay.
I don't think you finished the super chat either.
Did Ron leave? Or did you
I'm gonna read the comments. I'm gonna read the Law Self-Defense member chat, and I'll read the super chat comments too. But first I have to. Oh, this is hard to do without risking my YouTube channel. Okay.
Just turn the camera off.
You risk your YouTube channel every time you appear. Now let's face it.
Oh, that's great.
You've already ruined your career with the Colorado State Public Defender's Office.
This is very freeing, actually. I should do this every day.
Pants of prison.
All right. Wait. I guess I have to prove it, don't I? Hold on. Let's see. Sorry. Oh man, these fancy shoes are hard to get off.
You can do the penguin wobble.
See, like who looked at? Hey, by the way, Vice Squad's in this. But we had a little Vice raid earlier. I want to shout out to the Vice Squad.
We did.
Yeah, and
I should have set up some music, right?
I hope Emily doesn't walk in right now.
Yeah, and there are 13. There are 13.
Now's the intern
you
going.
watching. And what is it?
The intern.
You're
What have I gotten myself
513 thumbs up on YouTube. Get a hold of yourself, people.
All right, folks. There's the pants. There you go.
And there were jeans too. That wouldn't have been easy.
Let's see. Let me take a look at the Law Self-Defense members and see. I wonder if anyone's going to quit being a Law Self-Defense member because I was chastised by the Public Defender's Office of Colorado. Have they lost confidence in my legal abilities? Let's see. Oh my gosh, there's a lot. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, yeah. Will Parker. Hey, Will, how you doing, man? Says you hit 200,000 super chat. Yep, I got the word, Will. Let's see. They're laughing at minoritized. They weren't offended by your presentation until afterwards. Well, I guess she's saying that somebody walked out in the middle. I didn't notice. It was a big room. There were a lot of people there. DJ says, if you show a black gun, you have to show a white gun. Well, I showed a light colored gun. the Glock was like sand colored. Let's see. It's a woke world. This woman, George says, this woman is a one-person clown show. By the way, this is the chat. It's not me saying this, folks. I'm just reading other people's statements. I do not necessarily endorse every comment here. Believe me. DJ says she is mentally ill. I don't know if that's the case. Someone typed in the mailing address of the Public Defender's Office. I'm not going to cite that here. You can look that up online if you want. I'm not trying to. Anyway. The people I worked with on the case were very nice folks. The public defender was great. His co-counsel was great, very polite, very professional, did a good job. I've got nothing but good things to say about the team at the trial of the client that I consulted and testified for. Jason says the Colorado public defenders are incompetent to stand trial if they are so offended by facts they have to walk out. I don't get it either. I don't understand, especially given the nature. I mean, this is an argumentative job. How can you just be wounded by someone's words? We say mean things in court all the time. Dear Lord. Tony says this needs to go viral. I hope so. Paul says she should be disbarred due to her obvious lack of their client's best interest. You do have to wonder what value they place on their client's interest.
Yeah. Next time,
well, we know that.
Next time, somebody with the similar circumstances stands trial and get convicted. Well, can they sue because they didn't bring in the correct expertise?
Well, they've literally just been put on notice that they will not hire the best or get the best to work on their case for them.
They won't even call me. They asked to do it for free. I mean, it's so funny. She says, we're never going to work with you again for money. I'm like, I've never seen your money. I never asked for any money.
Point that my understanding is the Colorado Public Defender's Office and Association is having big financial problems. They are lobbying to get increases in their budget. And in fact, their staff is making moves to unionize because they have like a 20% turnover rate in that office, which is extremely high. And
this is Colorado, Steve?
Colorado. I sent you an email with the notice on it recently that they're trying to unionize. And the fact is that so here you've got an expert witness, which is a big part. I mean, we really have to pinch pennies on our budgets with expert witnesses. And you're now turning away free people who are the best in the country on this expert, which is something you deal with all the time as a public defender, I know. And now you're shutting the door on that, and you're asking for more money from the taxpayers.
It's so crazy. So I mean, listen, one of the reasons my consults are expensive is because they're a lot of work. They're a lot of expertise. I had to review every piece of evidence in this case, and there was a lot of it. It's a murder scene, right, or claimed murder scene, self-defense scene. I had to go to a voir dire, right? I had to qualify first as an expert, so I had to testify what they call a Shrek hearing here, where I got qualified and I got to be questioned on direct by the defense and then subject to cross-examination by the state. And when the state was done in cross-examination, you know what their argument was to the judge why I shouldn't testify? They said, well, we can't dispute he's clearly an expert. We just don't think it's necessary for him to testify. Boom. That was it. That was it.
Hey, there's a
then, of course, I had to come back to trial and to testify, and I got pushed to the next day, which happens in trial. So I had to come back a third day to trial and sit there and then testify for a couple of hours in front of the jury. This was all a lot of work. They got all that for nothing and an acquittal on all charges.
And there's a good chat from Joe who says, so now how much is it to put your pants back on?
I don't know. I might just call my wife first. Let's see, 20% turnover. Yeah. All right. Let me that's all the member chats. Well, not all of them, folks, because I have so many guests. I don't want to make it painstaking for everybody, but I'll take a look now at the super chats. All super chats over $10. I'll take a look at here. It's been so long since I did this. I'm not sure.
The one that mentions me is less, but I don't have that rule, so you can read mine.
Nicholas sent me 100, whatever your money is. Nicholas, is that kroner?
Yep.
Kroner, 100 kroner. Thank you so much, man. Phil
That's
says
like $3, so you're violating your rule already.
No.
Phil sent $10.
For me, it's priceless.
Says, wear that t-shirt. Yes, indeed. Corwin, $10. Let's see the t-shirt. Rowan sent $10. Same reason. Jeremy came over from Rumble to YouTube. I pulled over a Rumbler. You know how much they hate YouTube. $10 again. Jeremy Miller. Oh no, Jeremy was $20. Smoky Bones, $50. Big Pig, $20. Good heavens. Protocon, $10. Kevin, $5 Canadian. Come on, Kevin. That's not even real money. Smoky Bones, $65. And that was 200, he says. 10 Kamosi sent 5. Jason sent 20. Mike sent 5. Chris sent 5. Darren sent 10. What a way. And can you hear the train going by? Is it coming over the mic? I love this office. I can't wait to get out of here. Let's see. Lucentile, 10. Chappie, 10. Whoop. Dangerous Doc Brewski, $1.99. Smoky Bones writes, pants, you say? $200 super chat.
See, there's no escaping. You didn't know you were such a sex symbol.
That's a shame says, take my very meager public defender money. $5. Intellectual Iconoclasm, $2. Marv White, $2. Revere, $5. And that's it for the super chat. So thank you, everyone, for your generosity. Miss Emily's going to get a very nice dinner and some nice flowers and some other nice stuff with whatever is left. 100% of the proceeds to be spent on my lovely wife, Emily. All right, guys, do you have anything more to add before I let you all go back to your normal days?
Just politics ruins everything. And this is a perfect example.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
You're always welcome at our office, and we have a one of the things we have a great.
Even if I
office.
show pictures of guns.
Yes, we do that all the time. We have a great office that we welcome diverse opinions within our office because it makes us better attorneys. It makes us better advocates for our clients, and so we get the best out of each other by having diverse opinions, which is the only thing that matters. From the First Amendment, the diversity that matters is diversity of viewpoint, diversity of opinion. That's the only thing that matters, and the fact that this is a rejection of that shows you that they are betraying their clients and their ethical duties to their clients to get the best and to get the best for their clients and be the best zealous advocates for the people who are accused of horrific crimes that they must represent.
Yeah, I don't know how you can view this as anything other than an ethical violation. I mean, they're denying their clients offered legal expertise because their feelings are hurt.
Yeah, it's amazing. I just don't understand at all the mindset. That's why I was wondering, is she able to bind all the attorneys in that office from using you? Not that you would want to go back there, but I mean, she's really put the whole office in does this disservice to the client. I actually might even embolden the prosecutor's office to bring more questionable charges. They know they don't have an expert.
Barange suggests over in chat, he says you should buy Emily a yoga class.
I can tell you the state was not happy with me testifying in that murder trial for sure. And as I pointed out at the start of this, my testimony was demonstrably critical in securing that acquittal.
Yeah, and as the token woke, I have to say that whoever this Jennifer, what's her face name is, even here in good old social democratic Sweden, this can't happen. And if it happens, if it happens within my office, I would gladly put a foot in the arse of a person like Jennifer, because she has no business in a public defender's office.
Now, you said that I have to issue a disclaimer. Obviously, we're not desiring any physical harm to anybody.
No, that was my personal opinion. Not
well, she might enjoy it, so who knows?
A big Viking boot, no less.
Yeah. So it's interesting. And if any of you are ever making use of the Colorado Public Defender's Office, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if
all right, folks, I'll let you all go at this point. I don't want to keep anybody any longer. Thanks so much for joining me for a few laughs and for the reading of the letter. Again, the PDF of that letter will be on the Law Self-Defense blog post for our members. And don't forget, folks, we are tomorrow having our Law Self-Defense Advanced class, our full day class on use of force law, self-defense, defense of others, defense of property. Exactly the expertise I applied in that murder trial for the Public Defender's Office to secure the acquittal for their client. Not guilty, all charges. Join me tomorrow, get half off. And if you can't make the day, we'll make the playback recording of the day available to all the registered students. So you should register anyway, even if you can't make it in person on Saturday, at lawofselfdefense.com/advanced. Let's monetize the hate, folks. Monetize the hate. We have plenty of people attend this class 3, 4, 5 times. Even if you've done it before, come back again. You will learn new stuff, I promise. All right, folks. Thanks, guys. Thanks. I'm going to click everybody off, wave goodbye, and I only know how to do this one by one. Thanks you so much for coming. Thank you, Law Self-Defense community. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Got a little inside peek into the psychological workings of, at least, and she says she's speaking for the entire Office of the State Public Defender of Colorado. That's what she says in her letter. This is what they're willing to do. They're willing to sacrifice the interests of their clients, legal expertise their clients need, or risk conviction, be sent to prison for decades, maybe the rest of their lives, because her woke sensibilities and others in her office, her public defender's office, their woke sensibilities were traumatized by my words and my pictures shown at their conference. She's unable to articulate anything explicitly racist or misogynist or whatever it is, minoritized in anything I've said or done. But there she is. She's announcing me persona non grata. And that's fine, Jennifer. That's fine. All right, folks. With that out of the way, I will remind all of you, if you carry a gun, so you're hard to kill. If you carry a knife, so you're hard to kill. If you carry pepper spray, so you're hard to kill. If you practice jujitsu, so you're hard to kill. I do all those things so that I am hard to kill. So my family is hard to kill. Then you also owe it to yourself and your family to make sure you know the law, so you're hard to convict as well. Until next time, I remain attorney Andrew Branker for Law Self-Defense. Stay safe.